Danish food and what to eat in Denmark. I mean, we gotta know. We gotta
We
know.
gotta know. It's a place we want to go. So what are we gonna eat when we go there? We love doing food, getting food into our systems, and we actually vlog. We have a travel vlog channel, and on that channel we like to actually like eat the local foods. So the old Walter's World is gonna help us find what to eat.
Tell us, Walter. Even though his name's Mark, but I call him Walter.
Hey there, fellow travelers. Mark here with Walter's World, and we're in Copenhagen, Denmark, at the airport. We've just been a great
He looks
week
kind
here
of
in
Danish
Copenhagen,
here. I could see him being
enjoying the Tivoli
Danish.
Gardens and just
Yeah.
drinking and eating and having a good time, because it's a really nice, safe place to go when
That
you're
was
here.
good.
And a lot of people ask me, Mark, what are the
that
things you should
looks
eat
less
when you
good
go
to
to a
me.
country?
That's
So
salmon.
we have today for you are the
Look
5
like it.
things you should eat when you come here to Denmark. Now, the first thing you should eat when you come to Denmark is probably the thing that they're the most proud of, and that's their hot dogs. Yes, I know it sounds
Iceland has
silly
some
to
good
think
hot
that
dogs. We love
hot
those.
dogs. Why would I go to Denmark?
Yeah. Oh, if you've been to Iceland, you're from Denmark. How do they differ from Icelandic hot dogs? For some reason, Icelandic hot dogs are so good.
We went there years ago, and it's still something that we randomly think of today. That would sound good as an Icelandic hot dog.
Dang, I would probably eat like 4 of them right now. I'm kind of hungry.
So will the same thing
dude,
happen
hot
with
dogs.
Danish hot dogs for us?
I'm curious. We gotta find out.
Believe me, the people here are
Oh, it's
extremely
loaded like the
proud of their
Icelandic
hot
ones,
dogs.
too.
When I was making my 511 hates of Denmark, a guy came out and said, "You need to have a hot dog," and he got me a free Danish hot dog. Basically, if you want a really traditional Danish hot dog, it's a hot dog on a bun. You can get a red one if you like, or a normal colored
Red
one.
one.
And what you put on is
$4
fried
one.
onions, pickles, and remoulade. And they love their remoulade. If you're not sure what it is, it's kind of like a sweet yellow sauce that goes on top of things, and they're like addicted to this in country. It's hilarious, but it actually does make the hot dog pretty good. Now, if you don't get to go to a hot dog stand and it's late night, I mean, that's kind of like you're drinking food when you're here. You could also go to like a simple 7-Eleven. A lot of people will sell it on
They have
the game or the
7-Eleven
soccer
there?
matches.
Dang.
They'll sell hot dogs as well.
Hot
The
dogs
typical
at
thing you
7-Eleven.
Well, I'm always surprised when 7-Eleven's in like Europe because we don't have them in Minnesota, where we're from, in the U.S. It's kind of sad.
There's like no convenience
Have
stores,
a-
just go to gas stations.
Yeah.
like to-go hot dog is they'll
Oh.
put French mayonnaise in it. Okay,
Like the way
kinda
he's
like sweet
manhandling
mayonnaise
it
kind of
there.
stuff, like, kind of like remoulade's cousin. But the thing is, sounds silly, but the first thing you should have when you're here, and they're all going to tell you to eat it, is a Danish hot dog.
That's
and it
good to
actually
know.
is pretty good. Now the second
like
thing you
hot
should
dogs.
have
We
when
would've
you
worried
come
if we
here,
saw a hot dog,
because
like,
if you want to
"Is that
grow up
blue?
big and
Fucking
strong, you've got to eat this.
Can we get
the
that?
Smørrebrød, which I'm sure I'm saying it
Smørrebrød.
wrong. It's
Oh.
basically an open-faced sandwich. They love their rye bread here. So it's rye bread, and then on top they'll put different stuff on there. Kind of the two ones I've seen a lot. One is like, looks like steak tartare on top, or it has like kind of like a shrimp cocktail on top, an open-faced sandwich. It's kind of one of those things you have to eat when you are here. And if you want to make it
Interesting.
exactly perfect,
Uh-oh. Pickles. Pickle alert. I'm not a pickle fan.
Pickle alert! Pickles are like a very 5 out of 10 food for me too, so it's like, eh.
I hate them. They're one of my least favorites.
you do is you have your Smørrebrød, your open sandwich, and then aquavit. It's like their local schnapps that you have to have. So it's kind of like two things in one there. So your open face sandwich and your aquavit, shoot it down. You don't sip it, you shoot it.
Shoot it
okay?
down.
So that's the
Oh.
second thing you need to have when you're here. Now the third thing you want to have when you're here is herring, okay? Or just fish in general, because we're on the sea, but the big kind of traditional thing here is herring. It was available at our restaurant for breakfast, and it is kind of one of the local foods that you have around here, and it'll come in lots of different versions and different sauces and all kinds of stuff, just like a lot of places in Scandinavia. But fish here, all kinds of
Lumpfish?
fish are good, but herring's kind of the traditional fish that you do have here in Denmark. Now, the fourth thing you're going to have, and is probably the best thing here for me, is the pastries. Yes,
Oh,
we're
baby.
going to have Danishes. You know what we call them? Danishes?
Give me a
because they're
Danish
so
right
good.
now.
And believe me, when you go back home after being in Denmark, after eating Danish pastries, you'll never be able to call the things you get a Danish again, because they're so good here. What I
Oh, I eat
recommend is
all of
I think
them.
it's
I'm
called
hungry.
the kanelgriffel, which is like a
Kanelgriffel?
cinnamon roll. Okay, you'll see it in just a cinnamon roll there, but it is
crushed.
fantastic. So when you are in Denmark,
Oh,
make
good.
sure you go to the bakery. Don't just
4
go
times
to
a
the
day.
simple pastries. That come
I
in
think
your
I literally
hotel.
would.
Go to one of the bakeries. They are fantastic here. They're all over the place, and anything you get there is going to be good. So eat the pastries,
Oh, man.
especially the cinnamon rolls. They
Let's
are so
go.
good. You have to eat them.
You think Danish bakeries would turn into our Mix-U?
Definitely. There's this this milk tea chain in China. It's super cheap. It's literally like $1 for a milk tea, and it tastes pretty dang good. Called Mix You. That's not actually how you pronounce it. That's what we call it. And we'd get that thing once or twice a day. So this is definitely what would happen if there was dang pastries for us to eat everywhere.
Man.
Okay.
Sounds
Sorry, the
good.
fifth
Mix
thing
You
should know when
and
you come to
Danish just sound good
That's a
now.
good
is
combo.
basically, if you didn't know this, Denmark is like one of the highest per capita pork eaters
Interesting.
in the world. And no, it's
Whoa.
not just in the encased hot dog version. They love their pork here. And so there's a lot of pork dishes you can have. So like fish, and then you got pork. Okay, so any kind of
Fish
pork
and
dish
pork.
will be good here. And when you have your pork dish, the other traditional thing you need to have is a beer. Two main beers you're going to have here in Denmark is Carlsberg, the
Carlsberg.
worldwide brewer, and Tuborg. Okay, there's different variations of them. There's, there's Carlsberg and Tuborg and Classic and all these things. All of them are pretty good. They're lighter beers, like Pilsner kind of beers, so it's not too heavy. So it's a nice little change up. So you can have your pork and have a light beer, and it's really good. So those are the 5 things I kind of
All right.
recommend for you to
5 things.
eat and drink when you do come to Denmark, because they all are all really good. Well, you should know, because most of you are probably just going to go to Copenhagen. Copenhagen is stocked full of really good restaurants, and Denmark in general has really good restaurants. So they have a lot of international restaurants here that are really good. Okay, so you will eat well when you're here. Yes, it is pricey, but you won't care when you're
Dang,
eating
got
your
it.
hot dog, which is so good, and you're going to have your the cinnamon rolls.
Burger
Trying to find
King?
a bakery here in the airport because they're so good, so I can have one last memory of eating a
We're just going to go and go to Burger
cinnamon
King.
roll pastry from here in
McDonald's.
Denmark.
Yep.
Anyway, if you
Macros.
want to learn more about traveling Denmark, 10 things that might shock.
The foods look very interesting. I know maybe it's not the most exciting thing that I'm most excited for hot dogs and Danishes, but that's what I want. I'm not 100% sure about the fish in the morning. I don't know if I would be prepared for that.
It is interesting though that like the things we're most excited about. He said you gotta try the hot dogs. Everyone will tell you to
That's
gotta
what
try
he
the
said.
hot dogs and the dang pastries. He said you gotta do it 4 times a day. So I mean, if that's what they want us to do,
Is
Walt
that-
Disney World told us.
Is that biased because he's American and he also just likes hot dogs and pastries?
Maybe, but we're just gonna take his word for it and eat it ourselves.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Hopefully you enjoyed. Let us know if there's other Denmark things we should check out, or if there's a different Denmark food video you want us to check out down in the comments below. We hope you enjoyed, and we will see you in the next one.